Hey guys, Kara here. I am going to talk about my experience with doctors the whole time that I have had chronic fatigue syndrome. Um, Throughout my life, I've had all these different super weird symptoms. So I've seen a bunch of different doctors, some doctors like specific to a certain symptom, and I don't know. Each doctor before I had my final diagnosis had a different take on what they thought was wrong with me. I've had doctors say that I have like mental illnesses, like it's all in my head, like none of this is real, it's just like happening because I'm depressed or stuff like that, which is obviously not true. And then I've had doctors, I guess my physical therapist thought that I was not flexible enough, which doesn't make any sense because I'm extremely hypermobile. So that's not right either. I've been to, I've had like MRIs taken of my brain. Um, that didn't conclude anything though. They didn't find anything wrong. I've had like chest x-rays taken for some of my breathing and chest issues. I have chest pains sometimes, but it's nothing wrong with my heart or lungs. They determined it's just part of the illness. Um, I've had testing done for like heart murmurs and other heart issues, like blood pressure tests done from standing versus sitting. That was for the possibility of having POTS, but POTS is a very difficult disease to diagnose, so that was not diagnosed, but it wasn't ruled out also. So that was interesting. I haven't had a tilt table test done. Apparently, that's like the finalizing diagnosis criteria for POTS, but that's really expensive, and I'd have to go out of state to do that. I actually had a friend who went and had that done, and she was diagnosed with POTS, so that's interesting. Um, what else? Um, I guess as you can see, I've been everywhere. And then my final specialist that I saw was a specialist that deals with a lot of older people who have arthritis and osteoporosis and that type of thing. But he also deals with a lot of fibromyalgia. And usually, people who are dealing with fibromyalgia also have a few chronic fatigue syndrome patients. So he pretty much told me, like, you have this, you're living within the realm of like chronic disorders, or I don't remember his exact wording, but I know I explained this in another video, like the Venn diagram with like 20 circles all intersecting. Um, so he said that's where I am, and this is what I most likely have, but he would not like diagnose it within my permanent medical records because of the way that insurance works. It's difficult. If you have a chronic illness, you're automatically going to get less money from your insurance. You're automatically going to get paid less from your job if that's in your permanent records. So he tried to protect me in that way, which I really appreciate. So that was my only good experience, I guess. The other experiences weren't bad, but there was just no final answer, and the answers usually didn't make sense. So that really sucks, and it's kind of hard to deal with being just sent to all different doctors, because usually I'll go in and see a doctor, and he'll be like, well, I don't really know what's wrong with you, so I'm going to send you to this doctor who might. And then that doctor will be like, oh, well, it sounds like it kind of might be this, so let's run some tests, and then it'll come back negative, and it'll be like, well, I'll just send you to him. He might know. And so that went on like pretty much my whole life. And then all my other health issues have been assumed to kind of stem off chronic fatigue syndrome, like my kidney issues, for example. I'm going to make a video about this sometime, but apparently the just fatigue and negative effects on my digestive system and all of that has just been assumed to be causing my kidney problems. So I'm not really a kidney patient. It's just stemming from chronic fatigue. So yeah, really frustrating, really awful. This happens to a lot of people. Doctors just don't want to stick with you and figure out what's wrong with you, or they don't feel like they have the qualifications or the knowledge in that specific area. But then chronic illnesses like chronic fatigue syndrome, there are so many areas that the illness covers that I would have to have a doctor for every symptom if I were going to have someone who were qualified to deal with that. Even my chronic fatigue syndrome specialist that I saw just felt like he had materials necessary to deal with all of my symptoms. So he just pretty much said, if you want to alleviate this particular symptom, you're going to have to go here. If you want to alleviate this one, you're going to have to go there. So it's ridiculous. They should definitely have a better system for this. I really hate going to doctors just for this reason, because I know if I go in, they're going to tell me to go somewhere else, which is really silly. I guess this kind of turned into a rant video, but that's it. I will see you guys around next video.